Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy, Base the Kid. As always, please like and subscribe, share with a friend, a colleague, a relative, an associate, an enemy, and anyone in between. I appreciate all the views, likes, comments, and everything else. Couple interesting things have taken place today, actually. So, I don't normally put out videos on a Tuesday. It's normally reserved for the breakdown, and then they come out Wednesday onwards. But on this occasion, I thought, no, a video was needed. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, it looks like we got our replacement for Saturday at the O2. Robert Helenius will be Anthony Joshua's new opponent, taking the fight officially, I think, on 4 days' notice. Well, technically it'd probably be about 5, because I'm sure it would have been signed off and sealed from yesterday, which is Monday. And yeah, even though it was announced today, I'm sure it was sealed and delivered yesterday, or at least very, very early this morning. First thing I'm gonna need someone to get Lady Chan to pull up to the video and give me my credit, because she tried to tell me yesterday on Beats' live that it was not Robert Helenius, and that was it. That was error, that wasn't correct information. I may just be a guy on YouTube, but as I say to people, I got sources better than HP and barbecue. Like, when I say something, I'm not saying it's always the truth or I always get it right, but more times than not, you understand that your boy's got the inside track from somewhere. So yeah, anyone, just like I said, send it off to her. Let her come, let her write a little message in the comments. Alright, you know what, you was right, Base, we get it to you, and we can keep it moving. But no, love to Lady Shan as well, and also love to Beats and everyone on that side of the YouTube community. Now, in terms of a fight, it's a good fight. On 4 or 5 days notice, I haven't got a problem with it. The one good thing you can say is, look, Robert Helenius is active. Just fought last week, so he's still in fighting shape. He's been in the gym, he's been training, he's got those rounds, so he doesn't even really have to do much to prep for this. Maybe 1-2 quick gym sessions with his trainer, come to the public workout on Thursday, do his weigh-in on Friday, get back in the ring and get paid a shitload of money. Now, no one's expecting him to win, but in his mind, I'm sure he's like, well, boy, this is an opportunity that I can't pass up, and if I look good, or even if I cause the upset, then my career is about to to skyrocket. So look, in the for the situation at hand, I don't think anyone can really bemoan it. Now look, there were people on the undercard, that's true, and you say, well, you put one of them into that situation. I think the only person realistically that would have taken it is Dempsey McKean. Filip Hrgović, I don't think would have taken it on 4 days notice, considering that he's got a lot to lose in that situation after training for a southpaw in Dempsey McKean. Derek Chisora, I mean, look, he might say yeah, but no one's gonna invest in that. Plus AJ manages him, so if he gets beat, it's gonna look sus. You knocked out someone that works for you. Yeah, of course he wasn't acting up. Then you got Gerard Washington. If you put him in there, then who's Chisora gonna fight? You got to draft in someone else for last minute notice for Derek Chisora. It just wasn't probably the sensible thing. And ultimately, if you look at it, outside of the speed issue that Robert Helenius is going to have, he is a long range fighter. He's got a very strong jab and a very strong backhand. Like, he works from distance. That's kind of what you're going to need, considering he's also like 6'7", 6'8". You're going to need that, especially if Deontay Wilder is who you're fighting next, which is why I always said that Dillian Whyte wasn't the best preparation. Neither was who else was he? Like Andy Ruiz, for instance, when he fought Andy Ruiz from the Jerome Miller thing, or damn, I forgot dude's name. what was it, the 989 assassin? Anyway, him as well. I'll put the name there. Brain frog. So yeah, like, you look at it and you say to yourself, well, fighting these shorter guys, if Deontay Wilder's who you're supposed to be fighting next, makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So you might as well do what you need to do, and yeah, go for someone that's taller, that's going to be at range, and so that you can work on your range, your timing, and get things working, you know, as they need to be. So yeah, look, it's a decent opponent. It's off pay-per-view now, so that removes one issue. Yeah, there will probably be some people sending their tickets back, but for the actual overall night, I mean, it's not a bad night. If the tickets were a little bit cheaper to start off with, I think this still would have been a sellout card, because it's better than a lot of other, you know, things you can get, especially at a similar price point. But look, hopefully no hiccups happen on this occasion, but you know, stranger things have happened, and we do know at least for the first few rounds, I think Robert Lanius is going to give it his all. So yeah, Jermaine Franklin, that's who I was thinking of. Just yeah, came back to me. But yeah, let's leave that one there, see what happens moving forward. But at least we got an opponent. I'll be at the press conference tomorrow. I've just had that sorted last minute, and I'll be at the weigh-in on Friday. So hopefully I can get some more footage, both for this channel and Undefeated. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, moving on to the next story. Now, while I don't want to spend too much time on this one, it is kind of relevant to the previous story, because Eddie Hearn and Simon Jordan went at it for part 2. So the one thing that I find extremely weird about this is, I don't know when it was initially decided that Eddie would go back onto TalkSport, but I'm assuming obviously part of it must have been to address, look, Conor is now cleared to fight, subject to, you know, an appeals process if they want to take that up. But with the things happening with Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua, you think, okay, that's now going to take precedent. Well, for some reason, no, it's weird, because there was very, very little comments made about the whole situation that's happened over the weekend with Dillian Whyte and the adverse finding that needs to be cleared up, and Anthony Joshua and his new opponent, and how that's going to work out. It still went back to, what, 10-11 months ago with the Conor Benn situation, and trying to go over old points that had already been spoken about. And it was just like, when you guys say you have no agenda, like you really do, because there's no reason for you to still be talking about the same thing 10 months on, after it's already been out in the news. Like, whatever you say, he's cleared to fight at present. If at any point the British Board of Boxing Control come back and say we're appealing the decision, or UCAD come back and say we're appealing the decision, cool. But for right now, it's like, oh well, you didn't clear him, or it's not strict liability, you did it on this jurisdiction thing. Now, I know for a fact Eddie Hearn said in several different interviews that he's been told by the lawyers jurisdiction is not what they were contesting the case on. Now, could he be lying? Yes, but if he said that on numerous occasions, why are people still coming out and saying, oh well, yeah, but it's jurisdiction, you predicated on jurisdiction? It's like, well, either you don't listen, or you have got your own agenda to push at this point, and you're beating a dead horse, for lack of a better phrase. Like, why are you carrying on with this? But the funniest part of it is when Simon Jordan went on there, literally his own show, and lied, saying that he spoke to Robert Smith on Friday last week about the event, and then was saying, oh, Eddie, and you like waited until Saturday to clear it up. And Eddie's like, well, no, we found out on Saturday. No one from our team knew on Friday. He goes, yes, you did. He goes, no, we didn't. Like, it was on Saturday. No, it wasn't. So then ultimately they call Robert Smith during the break, and he confirms, no, it was Saturday when I spoke to the team. So that right there, you got Simon Jordan caught in a lie. And the thing is, if he's been caught in that lie, how many others has he had, whether it's a lie that he's intentionally given, or he's been given the incorrect information but tried to feed it to the public or feed it on the broadcast as the truth or as narrative? That one segment right there, that one moment, destroyed his entire credibility. And the fact he couldn't just say, you know what, you was right, I got that one wrong, I made a mistake on that. The fact he couldn't just say that and just concede to that one part just tells you the kind of character he's got. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, not even just because of that part, but the entire conversation, how it went, just everything I heard, from the things that I know to be factual, as opposed to, you know, other stuff, which just, I guess you just have to decide who's made the more logical sense within the comment, even though the both of them were shouting over each other as usual. To me, it looks like 2-0 Eddie Hearn. I don't think we need to see the trilogy. And to be totally honest, after you literally been on there, and this guy, for some reason, all he wants to talk about is the fact that you came for money. You know, he said, you know, he even said on the show before, oh, you know, yeah, like, I do have a bit more of an affinity for someone like Ben Shalom or someone like Frank, who came up and did it the hard way, for lack of a better phrase. But he said that on the show, you know, not just someone that was, you know, gifted their company, like someone that actually had to do it the hard way. So even when he says that I am, you know, I'm impartial, like I treat everyone the same, well, you don't, because we can hear it in your tone when you talk about a matchroom situation, as opposed to when you talk about a Queensbury or a Boxer. Yeah, you might still attack something that they've said or attack a person there, but it's never the same type of attack as when it's Eddie Hearn, when it's matchroom, when it's Anthony Joshua, Conor Ben, or whatever. Like, the fact that right now you just can't accept that is crazy. And the fact that everyone can see it. Now, whether they like Eddie or not, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, stick it to Eddie, stick it. Cool. But ultimately, keep that same energy. Now, to be fair to Simon, I've got to also give him a bit of praise, because he did stick it on Frank Warren a little bit earlier on today as well. Again, it wasn't with the same vigor and vim as you know, he likes to give to Eddie, but it was enough that had Frank stumbling over his words on the show, which is always lovely to see. That's why you can always tell when Frank's in a lie, when the words just and he has to take a little bit of time to get out, to formulate the story. So overall, I thought it was entertaining. I definitely don't need to see a trilogy though, because it's not ever going to progress to anything like reasonable or to anything, you know, conversational at this point. It's always just going to be a slanging match between the two of them, and yeah, it might do good numbers, clickbait, but you're not really learning anything new at this point in time. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. Let me know what you think. But 2-0 Eddie, no trilogy needed. Last but not least, Richard Riakporhe. We got to talk, my guy. Alright, so for those of you who don't know, purse bids were supposed to be today around about 5 o'clock UK time for Richard Riakporhe versus Opetaia. As we know, Opetaia is co-promoted by Tasman Fighters in Australia and Matchroom Boxing as well, obviously, and now he's exclusive to DAZN. Richard is with Sky Sports and Boxer, and he put out a statement essentially withdrawing himself from purse bids today. Now, we had the same situation happen with Fraser Clark a couple months back when he was supposed to be facing Fabio Wardley for the British title. Richard, in the statement, said something along the lines of, I accepted 2 offers previously in 2 different locations, but both of which for some reason were withdrawn, which has obviously left me inactive and has cost me other opportunities. Now, so he said, look, I appreciate the IBF, like, thank you for your support, but I'm choosing now to go a different route. I will become a champion and I will unify the division. But my whole thing here is, okay, if you're saying that people wasting your time, people not giving you the or they're giving you the run around and keeping you inactive, and you want to do other things, the purse bid was today. After a purse bid, I think the fight is supposed to take place no later than 90 days after a purse bid or something along those lines. So the latest you would be fighting would be what, November? As far as I'm aware, did they not have an initial August date that they was trying to look towards, or a September date? But the latest you get in the ring is November for the title. So why would you then pull out of purse bids if you're saying, oh well, they was wasting my time before? Well, they can't waste your time anymore. Like, you know exactly what fee you're gonna get, you know where it is, you know what your obligations are gonna be to the event. All you gotta do is go there, turn up, and you don't even have to worry about a rematch clause, because as soon as you beat that guy, you're home clear and free. So unfortunately, that is a stone cold duck, and that's duck number 2. And it's all because Boxer don't want to risk the fact of losing one of their premier stars, so to speak, to a DAZN broadcast, because they're not confident enough in either their power to bid on the fight and how much they can bid as opposed to their opponent, or they're not confident of the fact that their opponent can go across the street, so to speak, and actually win that belt. Because if Richard Riakporhe was what you say he is, it doesn't matter if it's in Australia, America, New Zealand, the UK, Republic of Ireland, Greece, Spain, Portugal, it doesn't matter where that fight takes place, he beats Opetaia and he takes that belt and he brings it back home to Boxer, and you get to give him his his homecoming fight, and then you get to have the unification fight after that. So either someone in his team ain't confident and they wanted it on Sky so they can get every possible advantage and maybe mess around the champion a bit, make things difficult for him to give Richard an advantage that way, or his promoter is not willing to have one of his fighters go across the platforms to go and get what they need to basically shore up their division and create the monopoly that obviously you would like to have when it comes to the belts and the talent in any weight division you can. So to me, yeah, 100% stone cold duck. Whether it was Richard's idea to duck, whether it was Ben Shalom that's talked him into it, whether it's the fact that maybe it's in the contract, because apparently these boxer men might have these certain contracts that say that their promoter or their promotional company can have final say over who they fight or whatever. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, with the last two, that's Fraser Clark and Richard Riakporhe, it's kind of making sense, because who turns down title opportunities that you've actually earned, like you're a mandatory for? And this isn't like some fake mandatory where you've just been fighting no hopers and then get someone to put you up the ranks. Like, no, like Richard Riakporhe has been fighting legit contenders, working his way up, building up his knowledge, building up his skill set to go through and to take on a challenger. And now all of a sudden you're not about that life. And if you said that you was a mandatory in 2 different governing bodies in the first place, well, why would you have been picking the IBF mandatory to begin with? Because I'm assuming the other mandatory he's referring to is Arsene Goulamarian. That's what I'm going to assume. I don't think it's a WBO one he's talking about, but maybe it is. But if that's the case, why would you not have taken one of those, especially when those people live a lot closer to the UK than you do? Goulamarian is what? He's in France? That's an hour on the train, like 40 minutes in the aeroplane, less than that probably even. So it just doesn't make any sense as to, if you already had easier options to make a mandatory situation possible, why was you going for that route? Oh, so you was going for that route because you thought you could probably bully the Australian guys and get them to to curtail to your to your platform, to your desires, and bring stuff over to the UK. Unfortunately, Australia's got what it looks like a very thriving business right now when it comes to boxing. They seem to be, you know, doing very well on their shows, and they're paying good money for what they're doing, like Australia and New Zealand. So they ain't just going to be pushed around financially, and clearly Boxer don't seem to have the kind of budgets that they need to be able to enact any world domination type plans, because by the looks of it, you're scared to lose purse bids to DAZN, who has a much smaller viewership base than you in the UK. So clearly none of it really makes sense. All I can see is Duck Central right now, and unfortunately, Richard, you got to take that one. Like, you, when it comes to challenging you, when it comes to people asking you questions, you're just gonna have to be humble. And yeah, you know what, cool, it is what it is. Like, that's the situation. I would hope that after putting out that statement, it's stinging him a little bit. I mean, look, I've known of him for a little while. I'm not gonna say I know him personally, but the kind of character I assume that he has, to write that statement and to put that statement out, I think it's gonna hurt his pride as well. So he's gonna have to come out and address that. But look, I'm leaving it there. You guys put what you think down in the comments, and yeah, we'll have a dialogue about it moving forward. But it's not a good look at all. But again, please like and subscribe to the channel, and you know, leave your comments, all that good stuff. Thank you very much for watching. For right now, it's the Hardcore Casual out.